I see a lot of videos and people saying, here are 5 things that they will do that will tell you that they're narcissists. If they do these things, they're narcissists. That stuff is not true. There are traits that narcissists have that are identified by medical professionals, right? And I know all of my traits. When you go into therapy, when you get diagnosed, you hear about them, you talk about them, you discuss them. That's the hardest part about therapy, is that I had to discuss my weaknesses, my anger, my emotional detachment, my ability to take flight. I learned that my cognitive skills were off. All of this is in therapy, and you can't look at a person and say, oh, they do these 5 things so they're narcissists. That's not true. They may have those traits, but you got to talk to a medical professional and sit down with somebody months on end and then be honest. That was the hardest part about therapy for me, was being honest. Talking about my past, talking about my mother, talking about why I was promiscuous, right? Talk about how I was touched by my uncle and how I was molested by my cousins. Talk about how I, misused women and lied and cheated and gaslight, did all of those things. That's the hardest part about therapy. When you go, you got to hear about who you are, really, and not who you make people think you are. And so in the military, I was held accountable, because when I went in there smelling like Newports and chicken grease, right, and didn't want to be there, I would walk out. First time I walked out from a psychotherapist's office, it was 18 minutes. Second time I walked out, it was 52 minutes. My friends at a psychologist said, Leon, that was good to stay that long, the 52 minutes. But the 18 minutes, I walked out. And then they called my job. And then I didn't realize till years later that they were annotating right now everything that I said and did, and how I came in there, how my attitude was, how I was reacting to the questions, my body language, my posture. All that stuff is written in a person's paperwork that's going to be diagnosed with MPD, mood disorder, severe PTSD, anxiety, depression, and I have all of those. So these people are here saying, well, if they do these 5 things, they're narcissists. That's bad information. And I know they're trying to help people, but I'm not going to say it's bad information. There's more to what they're saying. Let me just put it that way. But anyway, 3 things that a narcissistic person, let's say myself, 3 things that I will do, I've done in the past for probably over 35 years. 3 things that were guaranteed that I would do. The first thing I would do, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to disappear. In every relationship, I disappear, whether it was physically, mentally, my body was there, but my mind was on the other side of town, like the song says. I'm going to disappear physically or mentally. Spiritually, I was never in any relationship, ever. Spiritually, I was never in any relationship. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to rage. Narcissistic people rage. That's a trait that I have. I will always have that trait. Disappearing, I will always have that trait, or that feeling, that emotion. And then I will explode. Now, I don't disappear, I don't rage, I don't explode anymore, because I can sit down, because I've gone through therapy, and a little 4'11", 125-pound white lady was on me. And it was like hard, because I'm like, this little lady is dominating me right now. But she kept saying, look, calm down, Mr. Walker. Just listen. This is what she told me. You don't have to be the big, bad master chief in my office. And I sat back and I was like, Jesus Christ. Nobody ever told me that. You don't have to be this way, Leon. My ex-wife and my ex-girlfriends, they would tell me, Leon, you don't have to do this, but I would listen to them, But anyway, a medical professional said, Leon, Mr. Walker, you don't have to be the big, bad person in my office. So 3 things that I did. I disappeared in every relationship. I raged and I exploded. When I disappeared, I realized my mother disappeared when I was 11. My mother disappeared. But in therapy, I found out that my dad disappeared too at times, because I had to talk about this. My dad raged and exploded. So I have those traits from my parents. And that's where it comes from, your childhood, neglect and abuse. So be careful with people saying these things out here. I'm not saying they're lying, no, but it's more to it than identifying 5 traits in a person. All of a sudden, oh, you're a narcissist. I could sneeze. She'd be like, girl, he sneezed. He went chew. He didn't go, achoo. He a narcissist. Stuff like that. It's just out of control. But anyway, they're going to disappear. They're going to rage, and they're going to explode. I disappeared. I raged, and I exploded. When I raged and I exploded, because I was wrong. I was proven wrong. I didn't get my way. When I disappeared, it's because I couldn't resolve conflict. My cognitive skills were off. I was embarrassed. I didn't want her to know that I couldn't be the man she wanted me to be. So those 3 things for sure are what I did. That's just the tip of the iceberg of my personality disorder. Disappear, rage, and explode. Keep that in mind. If you have questions, look it up. Ask Lee Hammock, ask Stephen Batwolf, the nameless narcissist. They can tell you about these traits. But don't just sit there and watch videos and then see 5 things that a person, your husband might be doing, or your boyfriend might be doing, or your wife or girlfriend might be doing, and then you classify them as a narcissist. You can't do that. You have to have a PhD. I think the only people that can diagnose people are psychotherapists and psychiatrists, I believe. Psychologist I had was the one that prescribed my sertraline for my mood disorder, and that's the only medicine I took. Medicine or therapy for people with NPD is called talk therapy. And so I was going once a week for 90 minutes, sometimes twice a week. She's like, hey, Mr. Walker, if you want to come back Thursday, I know this is Tuesday, if you want to come back Thursday, you sure? And I'm like, please let me come back. Because it felt good to open up to somebody, because every woman I ever had, I didn't trust them because I didn't trust Leon. I didn't trust myself. So I thought that they were doing what I was going to do to them, but I had to do it to them first. That was projecting. So we'd use these terms, but nobody gets deep into it. So I couldn't trust myself. I didn't trust myself. I didn't even like myself. So I had to create this person that I liked, and I would project a positive image that she would like. And so I manipulated that and using abuse women mentally and verbally. So think about that. Think about the traits. There are 3 things that I did. I disappeared, I raged, and I exploded. You have a good day. I'm downtown Chicago. I'm about to do this 5K hot chocolate run. You have an amazing day, and I'll be in touch. Thank you.